Mr. Brady for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, America. President Reagan once said the 9 most terrifying words in the English language were, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." Recently, I met with job creators, small businesses, and mid-sized businesses in our East Texas district to talk about jobs. And I wish the President would have been with me to listen to the men and women who create jobs in my district, and they're like the men and women who create jobs across America. In meeting after meeting, job creators in my district made their voices heard loud and clear. They don't want another Washington jobs bill. They don't want government that taxes more, spends more, regulates more, and borrows more. They aren't looking to Washington for more incentives or tools to start hiring. Want more jobs, they ask? Then get your finances in order and get Washington out of the way of our economic recovery. They want this Congress to cut now and cut deep. And when this Congress thinks it's cut enough wasteful and non-essential government spending, they want this Congress to cut more. In other words, they want their lawmakers to do what it takes to get our nation back on sound footing. In Willis, City Council member Anna Ross asked, "We're making the tough choices in our city budget. When will the federal government do the same?" At the Conroe Rotary Club, Angela Allen told me she wants Washington to pay down the debt, go after fraud in Medicare, and above all, get out of the way of our job creators. In Orange, Texas, small business people flat out rejected more borrowed stimulus. They insist Congress not raise the debt ceiling unless we begin cutting up Washington's credit cards. And local hospital administrator Jaron Garrett said it as bluntly as can be: control spending. In Huntsville, Texas, I heard how concerned citizens how concerned people are over our huge job-killing tax code. Sandra Sherman not only wants us to stop the spending, she wants government out of so many areas of our lives, from housing and banking and medicine and energy, insurance, and other sectors. Evie Blissard sent a loud message that we should not give in to the big spenders. Evie's right. We can't give up the fight for a fair tax or to save Medicare and Social Security for our young people. I heard that same message in Livingston, Texas, and New Caney, Texas, where they said forcing fewer and fewer taxpayers to carry more and more of the federal government burden is a sure way to kill the golden goose of prosperity. Fear and uncertainty of what's coming next from Washington, including higher taxes, higher health care costs, higher energy costs, is keeping these employers from putting out that help wanted sign we're all looking for. In every town hall, round table, and civic club in my district, the 4-letter word on the lips of everyone's tongues was debt. Mr. President, Texas, the businesses who can help America pull out of its economic slump say it's time to cut up America's credit cards and end the spending spree in Washington. They'll tell you Washington doesn't back away from the cliff of more debt, more spending, more regulation, and more tax. They fear we might cease to recognize our great nation in the future. Today, 2 years after that economic recovery supposedly started, years after we spent $820 billion against our Republican objections, that stimulus, we have fewer Americans working today than when the stimulus began. 1.5 million people fewer working than when all that stimulus was supposed to jumpstart the economy. Manufacturing's down, factory orders down, consumer confidence is down. We were promised our unemployment rate right now would be 6.5%. Well, it's almost 9%. We have the longest number of people out of work, unemployed. It's almost at historic levels. We have fewer people working today than almost a quarter of a century ago, fewer people in the workforce than almost a generation. The stimulus failed. It's time for a new approach. It's time to listen to the job creators. What they really did like, by the way, was the Republican plan for America's job creators, to get the tax code out of the way of our small business people, to get higher energy and health care costs out of the way of our job creators. They want to lower the barriers so America compete and find new customers around the world, get those barriers out of the way. And they want a better business climate, more patent reform, more lawsuit reform, get those extra costs out of the way of our small businesses. And they want us to get our financial house in order. Mr. President, get out of the White House. Listen to our job creators. They don't want more government jobs bills. They want you in this Congress out of the way, what they know they can do. And with that, we'll bring the jobs, bring the unemployment rate down, bring us back to the strongest economy in the world, not just for a few years, but for the entire century. I yield back.
Members are reminded to address the remarks to the chair.